Hi, it's Alexis. Welcome to the Artist and Business community. I'm so glad you're here. So today's video is all about why we do a mentorship and not a course, why we offer a mentorship and not a course. It's really interesting because we had a course when we started back in 2017 for years. We had it for 3 solid years, almost 4 years going into and out of the pandemic. And one of the reasons that we loved it was because it really was streamlined and comprehensive at the same time, not leaving any details out on what it takes to get your art business online up and running, all the groundwork you need, all of the essentials you need on top of that groundwork to really get things going. The problem that we noticed, I personally noticed right from the start and then through those 4 years, was that a solid 20% of the artists who would take the course would take it and just run with it. They are currently now making 5, 6, and 7 figures selling their art online. They have very sustainable long-term businesses at this point. The rest of the 80%, 70 to 80%, I would say, stopped short for a variety of reasons. Now, those reasons pretty much fell under 3 main categories. Number 1, the artist just decided they didn't want to do it. And that was it. They stopped, full stop. I don't want to go any further. And now I see what it takes to really do this, get it up and running and keep it going. And I don't want to do it anymore. Okay, that's that group. Second reason was because they ran into a roadblock that they couldn't rectify on their own, and they just couldn't figure out a way to move past it and through it so they could keep going. So, for example, we had a lot of artists on the tech side of things with massive roadblocks around tech. And in the process of our course, we would do really in-depth Q&A sessions. And after the Q&A sessions, we would really do our due diligence and work overtime to help the artist, point them in the right direction on who they could look into hiring to help them, what they specifically would need to do to make it all happen on their own. The real problem there, though, was if they didn't have the time, capacity, or resources to make that happen at that time, it just wouldn't happen. And then they would stop. So this group didn't want to necessarily stop. They just couldn't figure out a way forward based on the resources they had at their fingertips. And then the third group, the problem was that they definitely ran into personal circumstances that stopped them. Now, that group is really special and close to my heart because we will always go back to them and see how we can help them moving forward based on those. But those are the 3 main reasons that people were sort of halted. As I reflected on this, especially coming out of the pandemic, my goal and desire was to create a new approach that was unique to what we knew our artists needed as an audience to, without fail, see this through. And it took a lot of analysis around that, time, energy spent analyzing what that approach could possibly be. We landed on first a mentorship approach versus a course. So we're actually mentoring the person in a unique plan for them, step by step, and making sure that they're seeing it through. Now, the way that we approached that was to try it, test it. And what we learned in the first iteration was that we were still leaving most of the work up to the artists. We were just giving them ample support to see it through. But the roadblock was very much the same as the second of the 3 groups I just mentioned, which was that the time involved for them to get underneath the how-to of those areas, tech, copywriting, lead generation, testing, and offer. Those are 4 very separate skill sets that a lot of them just genuinely did not have the time or the ability to get underneath enough to do it for themselves. And so that was not okay on our end. That was still, it felt like, we didn't achieve exactly what we wanted to there. But the refinement around that was for us to do those 4 things for them. So that is what our mentorship is now today. And it is a night and day difference in the way we're able to not only help our artists get results faster, but track the process for each person as we go. Because when it's left to the artists, we were at the mercy of waiting for them to come to us and explain to us what was taking so long or what was causing them to run into a roadblock. And when we're not so involved as we are now, it's hard to understand where that roadblock really is. So now we do this as a bespoke, step by step, doing it for you and coaching the artists on how to oversee those 4 areas. There's 4 areas that if you don't have in place in the right way, won't enable you to really scale your business. And those 4 areas are, number 1, having a roadmap that says, based on where you are now in a certain amount of time, where do you need to be without fail? And what are the specific milestones you're going to need to cross in that time to inevitably get there? That's number 1. Second is to understand a lead generation plan to bring potential buyers in front of you. So every business online conducts lead generation in the same way. It's lead generation. A lead is a potential buyer. So generating potential buyers to come in front of you so you don't have just fans in front of you. You specifically have potential pre-qualified buyers. How do you do that? Well, I'll tell you one thing, most businesses will hire a lead generation company very smartly to do that for them because it is a specific skill set. The problem with art is that it isn't the same approach in understanding who the right buyer is than it is for other businesses. I'll talk about that in the next video in more detail, but the long and the short of it is that we take care of that for you and we coach you on how to oversee that with us. So you're underneath it, but we're fast tracking that so you don't have to try to figure that all out on your own. The third skill set that we do for you is your groundwork. And that means content, written content, and tech that you have to have set up to ensure your business is ready for success. Now, how do we ensure that? What do we know we need to do there? Basically, we can bring those pre-qualified potential buyers in front of you, but if they don't know who you are, what your art is, and what the theme is, immediately you're going to lose them. And it's very hard. It's like herding cats to try to get them to pay attention to what you have to say. So if you have groundwork in place that does that for you, content and tech, that takes them on a journey, really beautiful journey in terms of meeting you, understanding what your art is, where it comes from, what the story is behind it, what the theme is all about, then we've hit the mother lode in terms of being able to engage in the right way around the right topics with the right people, and then invite them into your offer. And that's everything. That journey, getting that set up right, is absolutely where the rubber meets the road in understanding how to make sales. And the final of the 4 is testing an offer. Because my goodness, you could do all of that work, but if you don't know how to make a sale from it in the right way and understand how to repeat that sale to the right people, well then you are doing what every artist says that they would rather give up their art than do, which is trying to push sales in the wrong way onto people who may or may not be the right people or may not be ready for it. And there is a way to completely avoid that, turn it around, and do it in the proper way with integrity so that you're talking to the people who want to be there, are interested in buying, and giving them the chance to do that in the right way and you getting to know them in the process. So those are the 4 areas that we take care of for you in the mentorship and coach you on how to oversee them so you get underneath the how-to of it all without actually having to do it, so that you can pay attention to these 3 areas that as the business owner, you need to be paying attention to and really get underneath. On-track earnings, sales training on how to make a sale at a mid to high level offer online, and private coaching to make sure you're staying on track with all of this. So that's our new approach. That's how we do it. And it is different from most. And I'm so happy to say that I would never have it any other way because we get such better, more sustainable long-term results for our artists in doing it this way. I'll talk in the next video about the nitty-gritty of how we break all of that down and how we approach it. But for now, I have one question for you. What is one approach you've used either in another course, another mentorship, working with a coach that you were hoping would work but didn't? please share in the comments below. And the reason I'm asking is because it's really good to look at these scenarios to help you understand what did or did not work about them. Because a lot of times when something feels like it didn't work and you hit a roadblock, it isn't always for the reason you think it is. So let's take a look at that, because a lot of courses that you've invested in the past have very valuable information to offer. It just might not have been at the right exact time for you or your business. That's the important part. Assessing what your business needs in the here and now is everything. So please share in the comments below. Can't wait to see what you have to share, and let's keep that discussion going.